Namaskar. I am honored to be part of TEDx talk and glad to be addressing the esteemed audience here. I am here to share some of my experience. I hope I will be able to communicate it to you properly. Friends, you agree that what we do or what we understand, it depends on our perceptions. Do you agree with that? Right. Even in our philosophy, it is said that word is a maya. It's an illusion. Unless you make the effort and particularly see through and notice the real thing beyond the appearance, then you will be able to see the reality or real truth. It's same for the administration also. Even in administration, how do we pursue the challenges? How do we address the issues? Depends on how we perceive it. So today I'm going to share the experiences of mine. One as an administrator and another at the personal level. If I consider myself as administrator, then this is the 27th year of my profession. Though I am old, my profession is in youth. In 2015, after completion of 20 years in the state of Odisha, I joined Government of India in the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Before that, I had handled education, livelihoods, women empowerment, development of handloom, handicraft, etc., etc. There, the people are in need of affirmative action or intervention by the government for enhancing their livelihoods or increasing their quality of lives. When I went to Ministry of Civil Aviation, I was a bit lost. It's not just because I had less exposure to the aviation industry, but also because of my prejudice, my perception. I always thought aviation is for the elite. So I started questioning what is my relevance there. You know, like you have to see the purpose when you do something. I'm sure every one of us, if we don't see that bigger vision in what we do or that purpose, then most of the time, we will not be able to engage ourselves very passionately. And that, of course, it affects the productivity too. So I was searching for my relevance. Well, many times it happens with me quite often that I land in a place in right time most of the time. So when I landed in Civil Aviation Ministry, I think it was the right time. New government has taken over and they were contemplating the new national civil aviation policy for the first time. There I understood that air transportation is also efficient mode of transportation. The benefit is more when distances are long, the terrain is tough, and it has remained elite because it has been skewedly distributed. We have not taken it to the people in the hinterland. Maybe I understood, maybe I perceived, I visualized that if civil aviation is taken to the common people, maybe it will become an equalizer. Like you have mobile, the technology which makes everybody equal, decrease the divide. So similarly, aviation had the potential to reduce that difference between the rural and urban. So that was the change in our thought process, and we conceived the idea of regional connectivity. Friends, even today, if you open the National Civil Aviation Policy, the first chapter is about regional connectivity scheme, which famously became UDAN, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, where even Honorable PM keeps on saying that Hawai chappal pehne wala bhi Hawai jahaj mein dikhni chahiye. That means common men should be able to access these services. So this was the policy which we could just bring, because we changed the narrative, which we changed the perceptions. So then there was a policy, now we want to make it a practice. So all of us know that if any essential services we talk for the public, it's about accessibility, it should have access. Then we should have availability, the standard quality of services should be available. If it's accessible but there is no service, what is the use? Then it should be affordable. We have access, we have availability, but if we don't have affordability, people are not able to buy those services, then again it becomes meaningless. So bringing these three components, which are quite social goal, to the aviation, which is managed completely by market forces, it was a difficult task for us. It was not only me who had prejudice, many thought in the same way. Aviation should not be supported because it is for the people who are resourceful. So we had to take this issue and say that the aviation can open up the economy. It has the multiplier effect on the economy, which is more than 3. That means if you spend 1 rupee, it is having a multiplier effect on the economy for the growth of 3 rupees. It has an employment multiplier of 6.1, which is if you generate 1 employment, it will multiply into 6 employments. So with this, we went to the finance department and we could get the resources for the infrastructure. We decided to take the airports nearer to the habitations, nearer to the people. Can you guess how many airports we had from the independence till the UDAN was launched? In 70 years, around 76 commercial airports. So we could convince, and how much money we could get? Almost like equal to what is for the road and highways. We got around 5,000 crores only for the airport sector. We were given the task of developing 100 airports. So accessibility, we thought we will be going nearer to the people. Then came the availability and the affordability. So here the bottleneck came. Can you ask somebody to give subsidy for the people who fly on the flight? So it was very difficult. So stood with the collaboration with the industry that yes, we have some routes which are profitable, where the margin may be low, but the volume is high. So we started looking at those routes and said that can profit generated there can be invested in the regional routes. This we could do because we could bring that perceptional change, that where we said that this is a virtuous cycle. You might have heard about the positive way of doing the things. Maybe this will explain. Vicious cycle is there where everything goes into the negativity. Here we thought, will industry contribute? It will invest in the regional routes. It will add more traffic and it will bring more profit. That means more resources available. Again invest, contribute. So this is where we took the aviation to a level where it has started addressing the needs of socio-economic needs of the. Want to show the achievements which are important to us. It shows that, as I said, 70 years, 76, 6 years, 72 months and 74 destinations are airports. which means one in a year before Udan and one in a month after Udan. We have around 473 routes which have been operationalized, involving around 100 airports. So if you see, many flights have increased and many people have started. Even if you sit now in any aircraft, you never know that who will be your neighbor. Anybody can be your neighbor, and they may be even a migrating worker who would be coming back to his home within a short weekend. That is what the success. But this is important, but what we were looking was something different. This is what we wanted to achieve. This is what we wanted to visualize, where we democratized Indian aviation. It was the first time flyers who experienced the benefit of the aviation. It's the son taking his mother to his workstations, or it is the old people going for the pilgrimage. So it opened up, not only opened up the economy or the destinations, it opened up the minds. People started thinking that it is no more a luxury, it's a necessity. I think that is the power of perception. That is the power of the thinking, which is different from what you see, what it appears, but going beyond that. So as I said, the socio-economic goal and aviation was never thought of together, and this is what. When I say aviation, and I feel very proud to be associated with, because it is not about the market-oriented scheme, but it is also about the aspiration fulfilled. Udan become a synonym of providing the flight to the aspiration of the youth. So it is about how we looked, and the reflection of the outer world was something what we thought inside. So here I stop as far as the professional story is concerned. Now, when I talk of my word, I wanted to show what is my word in personal front. If you have heard me quite attentively, you know by my accent that I am from which part of the country? Right, southern part of the country. I am from Karnataka. I was born in a family which is maybe by default was matriarchal. Somehow, women become the head of the family, not because of design, but they had to take the responsibility. Extreme right side is my great-granny. Her name was Devamma. She was, at 6 years, I think her parents, she lost both of her parents. Stayed with her relatives, got married at very young age. And to add to her difficulty, they were pushed out of their village because of a huge dam project which was coming in. And as it happens many times, God keeps on testing you. She lost her husband. And at the age of hardly 14 or 15, she was left with 2 daughters. One 2 years beside her, and one unborn in the belly. With that condition, she went to the nearby town. Worked as a maid in an advocate's office or in their residence, and tried to bring up these 2 daughters. Because of the circumstances, gradually she started saving some money. She did not lose the hope. That's what I used to be told by her subsequently when she was narrating her story. Keeping the hope, she started having her some savings, opened a small grocery shop. In the grocery shop, she started bringing these grandchildren and taking care of them, and made a promise that all of them will have education. All the grandchildren were admitted to the schools, and the fee was paid by her income from this grocery shop. The grocery shop was kept only for giving the fee to the children. My mother was the eldest. She was seen by my great granny, that is my mother's grandmother, that she will not be a dropout. She stayed with her, admitted it to her hostel. Everywhere she went, she made sure that education will not stop. I was told by my granny, when my mother was in class 10th, my grandfather got a groom to get her married. So great granny vehemently opposed, so much so that my grandfather stopped talking to my great granny. And I think till her death, I have not seen both of them talking. Then mother graduated, and lo and behold, she has been made MBBS doctor and made as the well-known gynecologist in the region even now. That was the contribution of my great-grandmother. Both were very illiterate, not even a single letter they read in the school. But the perception they have towards the life was unmatched. Because my mother was a doctor, and that too gynecologist, most of my childhood was in the hospital premises. So life threw so many challenges towards them, so much of hardship towards them. But their reaction, their response was always very compassionate. Never it was bitter. We were told to carry water and food to the patients and patients' families quite often. And these two ladies in the quarter are good support system for the patients and patients' families. But many stories, patients coming and sitting in our compound and then sharing so many thoughts with these young ladies, not so young at that point of time, but used to be real grannies for anybody who is coming to that hospitals. And this is where I see that the power of giving, power of making somebody empowered is always with us. Whether we are educated, we are not educated, whether we are in a position, we are not in a position. I think they kept on expanding their perceptions without any discrimination, without any judgment, or without any bitterness. So that is where I think they were able to make it all inclusive and bring that ambience to all of us as a young kids, and whatever we are today because of those ladies who have made that contribution in our lives. So here I stop. Thanks for patient hearing.